Now, I've had on my list for the recipes too, I've had HASSELBACK potatoes. I've had it 6 months, 9 months, whatever, and I'm always going to be doing them and I haven't got around to it. And all of a sudden, they're trendy again. You see, if you hang around long enough, they become trendy again. And I noticed in the paper the other day, they were talking about them and say, oh, they're the new thing. Well, they're not the bloody new thing. They were created in 1953 in the HASSELBACK restaurant in Stockholm by, if I remember his name, Leif Erikson or Ellison, one or the other. He was an apprentice. Not bad, is it? Anyway, I'll just show you how to do them, just quickly. All you do is you grab a nice big waxy potato and you cut them. Can you have a look there? About 2/3 of the way through, and you do the whole lot like that. And then you put them into the oven in a tray with a good sprinkling of olive oil and lots of salt. If you're feeling really fancy, you can add some garlic and some rosemary. I don't think it's necessary. And then you bake it in a fairly hot oven. And what happens is you get a lovely crisp outside and you get this sort of really soft, floury inside. It's a lovely mix. I've been meaning to do them for ages, and HASSELBACK is now in vogue. So that's just showing you what to do with it. Now, let's think about a nice sauce to go with the steak, because we've got our potatoes. I've already got those in, by the way. So, something nice, Italian influenced. I've just got some olive oil in there, of course. A couple of cloves of garlic in there as well. Crushed or chopped or grated or whatever takes your fancy. But always put the garlic in after the onion, because otherwise it may burn. I always love watching the Chinese chefs, or the Asian chefs, I suppose you'd say, not so much Chinese. And they start off and it's so fierce and they throw the garlic and ginger in first. They never burn it. They never burn it. They're tossing it. You had to be there, obviously, didn't you? Now, I'll turn that down too much now. There we go, that's about right. So we're just cooking this until it's tender. Then we're going to add a few other little things and the rest of the onion. I've got a can of diced tomatoes. Also about half a cup chicken stock, packets fine. A little bit of sambal. Now this is optional, but I actually like some chilli paste in this. You don't have to do the chilli if you don't want to. Why? Why would you not put some chilli in? Salt and pepper. Decent amount of salt. You can always check it later, of course. And some freshly ground pepper. So we cook that down until it's thick and fragrant. You can add a little bit more chicken stock if you feel that even though it's cooked down, it just needs a little bit more cooking, a little bit more fragrance. And when I talk about fragrant, I'm talking about the smell. What do they say, the Italians? And I can't remember, so I'm not going to tell you. But they say that, you know, you should cook by the nose. You know, when you make sauces and things, you can smell when the next step should be taken. I'm not quite that good. I'll just prep my steak while I'm waiting. I've got a really nice piece of porterhouse, and I just want to batten it out a little. Now, I've got fat on it. Always leave some fat on your steak. Your porterhouse anyway, maybe not your eye fillet, but your porterhouse. And I like to salt it beforehand, which maybe people will say, oh, you shouldn't do that because it draws out the moisture. They're mostly right. That's pretty near ready, that sauce. So we've just got some pitted black olives, which I've sliced. And then we've got some lovely, beautiful, fresh basil. And when I say beautiful, it's just superb. I don't know whether it's the time of the year. I don't know enough about herbs because these days they're grown in greenhouses, aren't they? So I suppose they're grown all year round. I'm not much of a gardener, guys. My father, who was a wonderful gardener, and my brother Tim's very good too. He's inherited. I didn't inherit. My father always used to say, I've got 10 brown thumbs. And I think he was pretty busted right. But he was a terrific gardener. So was his father too. I don't know how it missed me. And as I said, Tim's a good gardener. But for some reason, I missed out. So we've got some torn basil there. We've got I am going off on tangents today, I know that. So we've got some torn basil, we've got some olives in there, and I'll just shove that over to the back if you don't mind. And I've got my steak sitting here and I'm all ready to go with that. I just need a little bit of olive oil on it. Now, just in case you've forgotten, the cooking of steaks, always take the steaks out of the fridge half an hour before you're going to use them. Brings them up to room temperature, which means they'll cook evenly. And the other thing is do rest them only 5 or 10 minutes. What actually happens is when you cook them on a high heat on the grill, all the juices rush into the centre because you've got this heat on either side, and you need to let those juices settle before you start cutting them. I'm sure I've told you that before, but it is a very important step. The other thing, these potatoes, which are perfect for the Hasselback, Nicola. That's the brand I got, well, the brand, the breed, the variety. Now, I finally got it. I got it from my dear mate Georgie at Georgie's Harvest at South Melbourne Market. Look, I'm not doing a plug for South Melbourne Market, it's just my local market, and I think it's very good, and Georgie is a ripper. She has some beautiful stuff. Georgie's Harvest, potatoes, you know, any root vegetables, things like that. Now, enough of that, let's talk about wine. My dear mate, Mr. Prentice, said to me that what I need with this is something like a Nebbiolo, you know, Barolo. He thinks I'm made of money, the man. He suggested Barolo. I can't afford, I'd have to sell the blasted house to buy a Barolo, so we're not doing that. But I am, and can I tell you why he said? He said because it's got a funky versi, I've forgotten the word, don't worry about it, it's funky. All right. So I've done the next best thing. I've actually done one of his wines, which is Nebbiolo, the old school Nebbiolo from Mandara. So it's maybe not a Barolo, but Neil, I'm sure it's pretty blasted close. So a glass of that, and it looks light, but it's actually got a lovely body. Let's put the steak on. Oh, the other thing that I must mention, it was a bit acidic, the sauce, so I actually added a little bit of sugar. You don't always have to do that, but sometimes I find that tomatoes need, and even canned tomatoes need a little bit of sugar. So we threw in a little bit of sugar just sweetens it up slightly. It can be very acidic. Now, I like acidic things, but it was just a little bit too acidic. And a decent amount of the sauce on it. You can slice the beef if you like. Last but not least, and there's your Hasselback potato. The new trendy thing. All right, guys, Nebbiolo, beautifully cooked steak. Cook it how you like it. Mine, of course, are pretty rare. And those very nice Hasselback potatoes. My God, I'm a trendy thing. I am not lying when I said it's been on the list for months and months and months to add to some dish or other. So I beat the trend. They are delicious because, as I said, they're crunchy on the outside and soft in the inside. So it's just a beautiful potato. And I wonder whatever happened to Leaf. He was only 15, I think, when he came up with this recipe. Did he go on to bigger and better things? Or was he a one-trick pony and that was his only dish? Anyway, I don't care, Leaf, you did a bloody brilliant job. It's a terrific potato. The steak is one of them. I really like that sauce. Oh, and the wine's not bad either, Mr. Prentice.